Welcome to this tutorial, and in this tutorial we are going to discuss about conditional statements in PHP. Now, when you talk about conditional statements, basically it means that you want to place some kind of control on the flow of your program. And therefore, when you talk about control structures, one of the elements of control structures is conditional statements. And then another one is the loops. And then we also have the last one, which is the sequential statements. So when you talk about conditional statements, basically in this particular case, is that you are just saying that you have some conditions that need to be met in order for that program to execute. There are some conditions that you have placed in this particular program that for a certain code block to be executed, those statements must be met. Then we also talk about sequential. When you talk about sequential, is the normal flow of the program, whereby you start from the first statement up to the last statement. No conditions need to be met. The program just runs without having any condition whatsoever. Then we have the loops. When you talk about the loops or iteration, it means that there is some code blocks that keep on repeating, or there are some statements that needs to be repeatedly executed in your program, and therefore you need to apply the loops, of which that is part of what you're going to learn in this segment. Kindly stay tuned, subscribe to my channel, and also turn the notification button on, so that when I create the next video you'll be informed. Now, when you talk about conditional statements, as I just said earlier, that it means that in this particular case you have the conditions. There is some kind of decision that needs to be made in this place, that you need to make sure that a condition is met, and if a condition is not met, then what the program is what else the program is supposed to do need to be indicated in that particular part. So another thing that we need to mention is that it doesn't matter whether the program is going to return a true or a false. The only thing that you are supposed to do as a programmer is to ensure that the user can be able to know if he has done the right thing or if he has not done the right thing. So you should be able to give the two ways to execute this particular condition. Now, when you talk about the types of conditional statements, it has been listed in this particular place. We have what you call the if statement. So every time you talk about the if statement, basically you mean that that particular code block is only going to be executed, or a statement is going to be executed if and only if that condition is true. Now, if that condition is not going to be true, that program is not going to run. So for example, if I write a very simple program like this, remember I am coding using PHP, and therefore we said earlier that there are some things that you need to have so that your program can be able to run. You cannot just run PHP just like that. So if you missed my video on what you need to run PHP script, then you can go to my YouTube channel and check. But basically you should have the WAMP server running. So you should have the WAMP server running. Here we have the WAMP server, and then also you should ensure that you have the text editor, and then you should also have the browser running. So you can see this is my web browser where the results are going to be displayed. Now, when you have you want to run maybe a simple program, I just want to write a very simple program here, that $x is equal to 15. $x is equal to 15. Okay, then I just say that if $x is less than 10, then you should display a statement echo, and then you can say that $x is less than 10. So that's the statement that is going to be displayed in this particular case. Now I'm setting the value of the variable x to 15, and then I'm saying that check the condition. If x is less than 10, can you display this output? So if I save this and then I try to run it, you realize that is not going to give me any output. Yeah, it is not going to give me any output because the condition in this case is not met. This condition is not true. So the moment is false, it just leave you hanging just like that. Now, the programmers decided to make it more easier so that in case there is an error, you can be informed. So in this particular case, they introduced what you call the else statement. So when you have the else statement, basically in this case, you mean that if that condition, the condition that has been set is not true, the else part is going to be executed. But if the condition is true, the true part is going to be executed. Now, in this particular case, I just write here else, and then I just say echo, and then I just say x is greater than 10. So that's the statement that is going to be executed in case this part is not true. So if I save this and then I just go and refresh my page, you realize that it's going to display the output that 15 is greater than 10, of which that is true. So in this particular case, it has been able to capture when the condition is not met. Yeah. Now going further, you realize I've already explained this, whereby we have the if and then we have the else. So we have said that the if is mainly going to handle when the condition is true, and then the else part is going to handle in case the condition is false. Now it happens sometimes you have multiple conditions. You have multiple conditions that requires maybe in one or another the conditions are supposed to be checked, and if it misses the first condition, you can check in the next condition, you can check in the next condition, like that until you get the right figure. Yeah. So in this particular case, you can just say, for example, in this part of else, if else, if else. Okay, so in this case we can just say we have got a program. For example, we say that $x is equal to 50. Yeah, $x is equal to 50, and then we just say that if x $x is less than 10, if $x is less than 10, then you can execute this code. So there is a mistake somewhere here, so I can just get rid of this. This one is supposed to be outside the bracket. Yeah, so you need to put that outside the bracket like that, and then you can just say there echo. Okay, so you can say $x is less than 10. Yeah, so that one is going to be executed in case the value that has been assigned to the variable x is less than 10. Now you come to the second part. It is going to evaluate if else if it is going to evaluate and say that $x is less than 20. So that's the second condition, that in case the first condition is declared false, then it is going to come to this particular second condition. Now in this case, we are going to say that echo, and then we can say that $x is less than 20. Yeah. Then after that, we also go to the next statement. Maybe we can have the next statement here again and say that else if again, and then we just put the condition here. So the condition here, we're going to say that $x is less than 30. So that's the condition that need to be met. So in this case, we are going to enter the code here and say that echo I think there is a problem somewhere here. So else, yeah. So we have that, and then we can just put some space and then you can say $sign $x is less than 30. Okay, then after that you can put now else, you can put now the last part. So this particular code, this else part is only going to be executed if all the conditions have failed. Else is only going to be executed if all the conditions have failed. So you started with the if part, it is it is false. You have gone to the second condition, x is less than 20, it is false. You got the third one, x is less than 30, it is false. And therefore this statement is going to be executed. Okay, so you're going to say that, okay, echo, and then you say that $sign x is between 30 and 50. Yeah, so you can have that statement in case all the conditions are not true. Yeah, so if you save this and then you go to run it, you realize that it's going to display to us the output, which is here. It is telling us that 50 is between 30 and 50. So these conditions are all false, so we have ended up executing this as our last or our final conclusion, that this particular value, it is within this particular range of 30 to 50. Yeah. Now going further, we also have another at the last conditional statement, we call it a switch statement. So wherever you talk about the switch statement, basically you are saying that okay, there is an expression that needs to match with the case structures. Yeah, so there is a value that needs to match, or the value of the expression need to match with the cases in the structure. Yeah, now if there is a match, the code is going to execute that case. If there is a match, the code is going to execute that case. Now in case there is no match whatsoever in this particular structure, then the default part is going to be executed. Yeah, so it is designed in a manner that it works similar to that of a nested if else statement, whereby in case the condition is not true in the first case, it will break to the next case, it will break to the next case, it will break to the next case until it goes to default. So default is only going to be executed in case there is no match whatsoever in those case statements that have been mentioned above. Now for example, we can have an example here of the switch, and then you can say that, for example, what you want to eat for lunch. So maybe this is my lunch. Maybe I can say that my lunch is like this. Okay, you can say that lunch, I want to eat lunch. I want to eat lunch over, maybe I want to eat githeri. Let me use githeri. So that is my lunch that I want to eat today, and therefore what I'm going to do is that it is a string, and therefore I need to put it in those quotations. Okay, now after that I come to the switch part. Now when you come to the switch part, you are supposed to declare exactly what is your expression, and my expression in this case is the variable lunch. So that is what needs to go in this particular case. What are you testing? What is your expression? Yeah, so this particular case I'm testing lunch. Yeah, so after you have declared that you're going to test lunch, you're supposed to have the opening curly bracket and the closing curly bracket, and inside here now you start with the case. Yeah, so you start with the case. So the first case is that you're going to be served maybe cuckoo. Okay, so that is my first case, and then inside here I can say echo cuckoo. You can just say that it is just say that it is 300 Kenya shilling. Yeah, so I can have that as my first case. Now in case that case is it's going to match with my condition or my expression, then it is going to execute that output that you need to pay 300. Yeah. In case that particular condition is not met, it will break, and then it goes to the next case. And now the second case, we are going to call it chips. Okay, so that is the second condition, the second case, and then we can just say echo, okay, pay 250. Pay 250 Kenya shillings, and then you can just say that break. Okay, then you go to the next statement, and then you say now case 3, and then you put there now Githeri. Okay, so Githeri, then you make sure that you end the case with the full colon, and then you need to press enter, go to the next line, and then just say pay Kenya shillings 100. Yeah. Then you can just say break like that. Okay, then after that you can also put the default part. So we have the default part, and now the default part you can just say that just say echo you have entered invalid input, like that. Okay, and then you can put break, or you can just leave it blank. Okay, so that one is going to evaluate if in case all these conditions are not, or these cases is not matching with the expression, then this particular part is going to be executed. So let's run this and then check if it's going to give us any output. So if I run this, it is going to display the amount of money that I need to pay. Now it is telling me that pay Kenya shillings 100 shillings. Now in case, yeah, so the statement is here. This is the statement, and then you can see the output that is displaying there. Then this one you can as well be able to, let's now put this one to be blank. For example, I put that one to be blank. I want just to check if the default part is working. So if I do that and I just save, and then I refresh my page, you realize that it's going to tell that you have entered invalid input. So you can see that this particular switch statement is working correctly. Checking the condition, maybe I can try Kuku. Yeah, when I save like that, and then I just go to my browser, I refresh, get the output. You are supposed to get the output that okay, so Kuku, I think it is capital K. So there is need for you to ensure that you've written the way it is supposed to be written. So that is supposed to be capital K. So if I refresh this, so you can see it is 300 shillings. So that is how you can be able to work with the conditional statements. We have talked about the if statement, we have talked about the if else statement, we have talked about the nested if else if statements, and we have also talked about the switch statements. So thank you so much for listening and watching. Bye bye for now.